In today's episode, I'm going to show you an easy technique called thumping. Thumping requires water-based markers like Stampin' Up, Marvy, and the markers I'm using today by Sukaniko called Memento. Now, many of you know that Memento ink pads are one of my favorite choices for dye ink because they work with no heat setting for almost every coloring technique you can think of. And over time, I've come to realize the importance of matching ink pads and markers. The Memento colors I'm using today are Tangelo, Rich Cocoa, Bamboo Leaves, and Potter's Clay. These colors work perfectly with the patterned papers that you'll find in this month's Stamp TV kit. Now, most markers have two ends. They have a brush tip and a small tip that's great for journaling or coloring tight areas. I'm going to use the brush tip for this technique. I'm going to begin with my Tangelo marker, and I'm going to go ahead and color the entire surface of the flower. Just like that. Now I'm going to go down a color, something a little bit deeper, and use Potter's Clay. Now here's where the thumping comes in. I'm going to actually bounce the marker on top of the flower, and I'm going to change the direction of the marker as I go, so I don't have all my lines going in one direction. Just like that. Wait till you see the depth that you get from this. It looks like beautiful watercoloring. And then last on the flower, I'm going to add some Rich Cocoa, just a little bit to give it some more depth. And again, turning my marker as I go. And I'm going to use this Rich Cocoa marker again for the stem. But first, using my Bamboo Leaves marker, I'm going to color the entire stem and all the leaves of the flower, just like that. And that gives me my base color. And then again, with the Rich Cocoa marker, I'm going to go ahead and just add just a little bit of brown to some of those leaves. Just thump on them a little bit. And then just add a little bit of brown down the stem. Now the next part of this technique is called huffing. And huffing is when you breathe warm, moist air onto your stamp. The reason I need to do that is because a lot of that marker is already dried and I need to reactivate the ink. So now I'm going to huff like this. And stamp. Can you see all that rich detail you get? It looks a lot like watercoloring. If you scroll down a little bit from the screen, you'll see a list of Stampin' Up markers that correspond with these Memento colors, if those are the markers that you have in your collection. Coming up in the next episode, you'll see the construction of today's card.